Aloha, my name is Anna Covert, and I'm coming to you from my battleship here on the beautiful island of Oahu. This week on the Covert Code, the topic is AdWest 2025, Creative Leadership, and the Future of Media Buying in Hawaii. And I'm joined by my special guest, media strategist Paul Lam, who is president of Media by Paul LLC, as well as the governor of AAF, which is American Advertising Federation, District 13, where he has led for over 15 years both the Ad2, which is for those young professionals under 32, as well as AAF for us over 32 professionals, and as well as the chair of the Pele Awards, which celebrate creativity here in the islands. So it's very, very exciting to have him here. And what the biggest topic for me is that next week we'll be having the AdWest conference right here in Oahu. And it's very exciting. I'll be speaking and having a breakout session. So Paul, tell us, how did you manage to get the conference to be here?
So aloha Anna, nice to see you. So our conference rotates to every district. To every district, we have 5 districts in the Western region for AAF, and so every 5 years, Hawaii has a rotation. 5 years ago, we had COVID, so we were about to have the conference, but got canceled. So we haven't had the conference here in Hawaii since 10 years ago.
Wow. That
So
is
people across the country are quite excited because they've been waiting to come to Hawaii, and they've been serving, and they said, okay, now there's time to come to Hawaii and come. But 5 years ago it got canceled, and so yeah, so it's been a 10-year wait for many people.
wow. Well, that's why I hadn't heard about it. I thought like, wow, this is like I hadn't heard about a conference here in a long time. So I skipped a question that I always ask all of my guests. So tell us, tell me about you, Paul. You've had a really interesting career here in Hawaii. How did you get started in media? How did you get from where you were to where you are now?
Yeah, I graduated from McKinley High School. Then I went to UH Manoa. I graduated in marketing. I went to join Surfco as a management trainee, as a marketing trainee. I worked there for 33 years. Somehow, 3 years of working at Surfco, I got in the advertising department, and I got involved in media buying. So I got a chance to do the media buying for Toyota, Lexus, Subaru, Chevy, some of our corporate business partners on B2B, insurance, appliances. And so it really gave me a chance to really give me a hands-on experience how to buy media, especially in the automotive business. We had, Surfco had such a big automotive share and budget that it really was really a good opportunity for me to learn and leverage our budget.
Fun and fun.
Work with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to. That's one of my bucket list clients is to have a car dealership. I've done almost everything else, vodka, ocean vodka, banks and real estate and you name it, but I've never gotten to do a car. So one day, hopefully, it'll be on the list.
Yes, I did it for 33 years, and then my boss that I worked with for 10 years decided that she didn't want me in the department anymore, so she laid me off, let me go. And so from there I thought, oh, what am I gonna do? So Surfco gave me the tools to figure out how to do my own thing. So I opened my own media buying firm, and there's not many ones out there they had. So I thought that would be a good opportunity to be out there and create a little niche for myself. And so it's been since 2018. I've been working on my own since then. So I've been working with clients like different agencies. The Harris Agency, who's now DigiVortex. I work with 1117. I work with Element 8. I work with some individual direct clients, Foku, UH Health Insurance. I do Hawaii Tara to Quit line. So I've been fortunate to have a bunch of clients I've been kind of working with. And funny thing is, no automotive. So all this time I've been working with non-automotive clients. I've been doing a lot of healthcare insurance, not healthcare insurance, but health related clients, and a few other different ones. But yeah, it's been kind of an interesting, same thing, but just different clients, right? So
Yeah, are you still subscribed? So I know one of the big changes, at least that I've seen over the past couple of years, is the reporting or the Nielsen. Like, do you subscribe to these expensive software? Is that one of your niches, or is that kind of like old school now?
Actually, I personally don't. I actually let the stations put together for me. A lot of my clients, they're looking at certain, they're not looking. I guess they're not providing a whole lot of high level metrics. So we're just looking for gross impressions, GRPs, CPMs, um, cost per point, certain basic point, certain things like that, and traditional media. So a lot of times the television stations locally can provide that for me, and I put that together. The only thing I don't really have is the software that can add up all the metrics together. Like this whole thing. And there's some software out there, but there's not really one ideal one that can really kind of put everything all together, add up all the stations, and you get this whole entire reach and frequency. So you can kind of get a general that equation, but for general that
They can have AI do it if you have the different proposals
yes,
from the different stations.
I've been asking that, but it hasn't able to kind of give me some other. Still working on that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think I have some prompts maybe we can try together.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd
Yeah.
be great together. Yeah, so I handle, mostly traditional media. I do handle digital, but I usually collaborate with partners like yourself and other people to get my clients' needs done. Then I also in addition to that, I also do project management. I help, like, for example, Sony Open for UHA. I do manage their Sony Open booth. Tomorrow I'm managing their Fresno State UH game.
Oh, wow.
I'll be tent there, and so I'm gonna be helping with the decorations and reception table and fun things like that. So I kind of do it all from soup to nuts.
Wow, that's really cool. So, what would you say are some of the biggest media buying mistakes that businesses make?
I think one thing they try to do is maybe not really knowing what they're, just trying to target themselves. A lot of times people think, oh, they want to I read the paper, so I think I should run in a paper. I think that usually we're not really targeting themselves. We usually we're target. They have try to find out what their audience is, what their goals are, and so sometimes, but a lot of times, people want to. Oh, well, I never see the ad because.
Oh, yeah, that happened. I have an exact example of that. When I first was moved to Hawaii after college, and I was working for Paul Brown in the salon and spa chain as his marketing director, and we had just opened this Paul Brown Institute downtown where Remington College used to be. And
Yes,
they're all since gone, but I was doing, it was a big deal for me. It was my first kind of traditional buy and we didn't really have online back then, right? We're talking 20 years ago. And so I did a campaign with KITV because they had the top, the top wasn't Top Shop, what it was called, it was a top stylist show and other things like that with hair. And I remember Paul being like, oh, I want to be on the news. I'm like, but are you going to beauty school, Paul? Because none of the people who are going to beauty school are watching the news,
right.
Or whatever else it was. So I totally appreciate that. It's very common.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the ones out there. I think another one is not having a realistic budget to spend and try to just kind of try to throw something out there and just try to but a lot of times you have to try to work what you have and you try to make it work the best you could. So I'm just happy sometimes to have a budget, and so and just try to make it and sometimes the small budgets are the ones that are the best ones because it's a really challenge to try to really make it work and make something happen. So.
Well, I call there's 3 different ways you can do a budget, right? There's the all you can afford method. There's percentage off the top of whatever you did last year, or there's my favorite, which is the objective task. Like, what are we trying to achieve?
Yeah.
And then, I think one of my biggest recommendations to listeners are to not pull back too soon. But we see that happen a lot, especially in online, where we have a plan and people get really nervous that it doesn't immediately happen, but that's not how impression share and action works. So you have to.
And you have to have it out there.
Yeah.
And another thing too is like I really believe in a synergy effect. So I think ideally you really want to try. People are different modes of when the buying process. So you need to try to hit it on all cylinders: TV, digital, radio, print. I mean, I do want to try to hit it on everything because people are out there just consuming different media at different times. It's so interesting. I was over at UH yesterday at the bookstore trying to buy decorations for tomorrow's party, and I see all these students. There's some multi tablets. They have like their phone, 2 tablets, and they're just working it all at once.
Wow.
How we're at the office, right? The office, you have 2 desktops, you have your phone, but they're just like
You got the radium going, you got the
Yeah, they've got everything going. So, and so that's what you're really competing with out there, is just competing with a lot of different things out there. And so not just one thing is gonna really hit. And I think that, I do want to try, the synergy effect. And so that's, I do for myself. If like, I have a budget, I recommend, trying to do multiple media than just one. So
yeah, and that's what for me, one of the most important things and kind of how I got my claim to fame was from remarketing, which is what I lovingly call cyber stalking. Right. So once you get that attention, wherever it comes from, you're going to fish around. And once you get them to come to the mothership, which is your website, that's when we can really be effective in getting that reach and frequency across multi-channel.
exactly, I think the other part is, in your book, going over the funnel, the funnel, I think that's really important to understand that funnel part. A lot of times just understanding that how that process works, that's so important.
Yes. Yeah. What are the expectations? And then to your point, customer journeys. A lot of clients don't even realize when we meet, they're like, oh, what can you do? Well, it's like, well, what do we know about your business? Of all the opportunities that you have to sell someone your service, how often do you sit? Do you meet with them? How often do you win? What is the length of a lifetime with this customer?
Yeah.
How long does it take for them to convert? I mean, the more expensive the item, typically the longer the journey, right? So if I'm selling you solar, it could take several months versus if I'm buying a glassware, then you'd have to be there at that right distribution point when someone wants to buy the glassware, right?
Right.
So it's like, where are you on the funnel? What do we know about our customer? Are they changing? Are they evolving? And that's really critical before spending any dollar on media.
For sure. Yes.
So tell me, how did you become governor of our
So, I guess, many years ago, I was always involved in student government or volunteering for something in high school and in college, joining a club or business frat. And then when I worked at Surfco, I just was working and I thought like, God, I'm ready to get involved again. And so Barbara Scott, who was my sales rep over at PBN
nice.
and
Oh,
HL,
God.
she was
Yeah.
icon here in Hawaii. She was in charge of the Pele. She ran the Pele's along with Jim Myers for 25 years.
That was the
So
last time I won anything, Paul.
25 years ago.
No, when like 10 years ago, I guess when the last time she
Yeah.
was here was the only last time.
Right.
I gotta
Oh,
like
right.
you gotta talk to someone about that.
Yeah, so Barbara, so I would just volunteer to help with the Pele's. I would just help maybe with the TV judging and just help volunteer for the club. I was president of the club, but never in charge, never really helped with Pele's that involved in Pele's. So one day, Barbara tells me, "Hey, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna move back to Georgia. I'm looking for someone to take over the Pele Awards, and I think you should do it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then she kind of just gave me the rundown about, hey, the goal is to you're in charge of being the in between the advertising agencies to make sure that the agencies are happy, making sure all the creative committee is happy, that they had this competition to enter, and it's fair, and that we have no one that's part of part of that process that can be to taint it. And so I'm like, all right. And so a lot of things to take in there because I'm just kind of like from just being like helping with judging to being in charge of that whole thing in Pele's. And along with that came being in charge of being the governor of AAF District 13, which is overseeing AAF Hawaii and Add to Hawaii. And so it was kind of like a big, like, oh, so fortunate. So now that I've been doing it for 15 years, I can kind of say, wow, it's been a journey. It's been amazing experience to do this. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how you get thrown something in and you kind of take it and you run with it. And I guess, Barbara ran the Pele's for 25 years. It was at the Hilton Hawaiian Village for 25 years. And I remember she was always say, the Pele's will never be anything more than it will be. And I thought like, wow, I'm going to take that as a challenge. And I'm going to, try to make the Pele's different and try to do better than what it was, when I was at the Hilton Hawaiian Village. And so, and not anything to spite anything, but just to kind of like just take it as a personal challenge to, you know, to better, showcase our advertising community, creative community, and what they're creative and what they're for. Hawaii is such a small, um, we're some kind of competing in this big pot of other people, in the nation. And so, competing with markets like LA and San Fran and Seattle and Atlanta and all these big markets. And so, and creatively, we don't have the same kind of budgets to compete with that type of things. And so, but somehow our creative community somehow showcases themselves every year, and they shine nationally at the AdWest Awards. And so, yeah, we get maybe 6 national awards every year from the national Addies from the Pele. So what happens is, from the Pele Awards, all our gold winners get automatically sent up to nationals for the American Advertising Awards. And so because we're part of a bigger community. And so Pele Awards is only here in Hawaii, and then it goes up to the nationals, and Hawaii has, because we're on our own district, we have our automatic like straight to nationals, versus trying to maybe compete like at a San Fran market and the LA market, and then you have to try to showcase your work there, and then hope that your work shines enough to kind of get out of that regional, and then you go up to nationals. And so, most districts have like a 3-tier competition. Hawaii only has a 2-tier competition, where we go from Hawaii straight to nationals, and then from there, and that's really important for us, because we're able to have our work, our creative work, compete nationally with other work out there, the best of the best, and hopefully win awards, and and this be out there with them.
Let me ask you a question, Paul. So I think one thing that I think is always a little bit of a struggle for us here in Hawaii is when we get, and I know you find great judges, but what do you do to tell them? Because, I think it's very easy for someone from the mainland to come here and to judge everything that it's got to be Hawaii, hula, what their vision of Hawaii is. But that's not the kind of vision of Hawaii.
No,
And so I see a lot of times things win that are like, okay, well, yeah, like the Hawaiian Airlines, or things that are very like what
Hawaii,
they
Hawaii.
think, what they think of us.
Yeah, yeah.
But so what is your coaching to them on how to be fair, to be like, this is like advertising that is for us here too?
Yeah, I try to, it's such a delicate thing to kind of say, because you can't really tell them how to judge at one point, but I try to give them some guidelines saying that, and another part too of that, there's a lot of work, so there's, people have to enter the work. So, if you don't enter the work, then it's hard to kind of get that work to kind of be that thing that you're trying to ask for, to be judged and win.
Sure.
So sometimes maybe the only work that's being entered might be only that.
The stuff that's we think is gonna win.
Well, it's hard to say. It's everybody has a different thought on how they enter Pele's, right? You entered Pele's before. You have your own.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to enter Pele's, for sure.
A lot of effort.
Yeah.
And you have to try to decide whether it costs money. And you have to try to decide. And different people have different thought processes on what they enter and how they enter. Like, for yourself, you might just enter. I did 20 things this year. I'm gonna enter all 20.
You know the thing that we won a gold on? The one thing that I won a gold on was, it was for American Savings Bank. And it was a custom wine, as a gift for this executive who had left. And we made like a wine bottle. We made like a beautiful, he was into Tuscany, and we had this beautiful, like, we got a beautiful bottle of wine, and we made this like gorgeous, like, private label on it. And then that was actually like a trip that American Savings Bank had given him to Tuscany with his wife.
Nice.
To go on this wine trip, and it was like, all custom wrapped. It was like for the whatever, I can't remember the topic, but it was like custom gifts or something was our.
I think it was packaging. Was it packaging?
Well, I think it's a custom gifts a topic. It's a while ago.
Yeah, we had so we have like design work, and we have advertising work, and so it could be falling to a bunch of advertising design work. That could be like could be collateral, could be different poster design, could be different things. And so I can see.
I got my Pele up there in the office. I'll have to look.
Good. Winning at Pele is a very prestigious thing. There's only like every year we only give out 30 Pele Awards, 30 or 40 Pele Awards. Maybe 15% of the total winners that's honored that year. And so it's really it's for you to win at Pele.
Yeah. Oh no, super excited.
Yeah,
I got a silver on something else too, but yeah, I need to. I know to start doing more. But a lot of our work that we work on at the agency is on the mainland, right? So it's a lot of like solar and things like that, like a huge portion. So now that I'm working with more local clients, I'm hoping that I'll be right back in there.
Well, if you win any silver or bronze, that's really great too, because only 20% of the work get into the Pele show. So if you have 500 pieces, 500 entries, only 20 to 25% win or get into the show and win an award. So whether you win a Pele gold, a Pele silver, or a Pele bronze, it's an honor just to get into the show. Yeah, I just want to convey that, get that conveyed.
So tell me, so we want people, how many people are now attending the conference? Are there more spots? How can people can
Yeah,
attend,
yeah.
and
So
what are they going to expect when they do?
sure. So attendees of the AdWest conference can expect professional growth, and people from the mainland kind of expect an authentic Hawaiian experience. We have it, the settings in the Elks Club. We have what more beautiful setting you can have.
Beautiful.
Beach in the background. Um, you know, we have a great lunch buffet scheduled each day. We have you scheduled on Friday, along with Alaska Airlines, Elisa Onishi. She's the managing director for Hawaii marketing. She'll be talking about the Alaska and Hawaiian Airlines merger.
Oh,
1 year later, now that 1 year later is the mergers happen, what has happened, and a lot of things has happened
yeah.
along with that merger. So we'll see what kind of things it has to say with that comes along with that.
That'd be
As a-
interesting.
yeah, and on Saturday we have two keynote speakers. We actually have Kamea Hadar. He's a outdoor muralist worldwide that's based here in Hawaii. He's done that Carissa Moore mural that's out on King Street.
Oh, wow.
That's right on King and right by McKinney High School. That huge outdoor mural. And we also have Aaron Sala, PhD. He's the president of HBCB, and he'll be talking about tourism in Hawaii. So we actually have some really cool keynote speakers, and yourself, of course.
Yes.
Which is on Friday. You're actually opening our keynote speaker on Friday, so we're excited to have you share your digital knowledge experience.
Very exciting. And, and now with the world changing just so fast, I mean, it is, even since I wrote my book just a year ago, the fraud has doubled. And now with all this AEO, which is Ask Engine Optimization, coming in fierce, the whole world of search is changing like literally day by day as we know it. So it's a very exciting time. So I'm looking forward to sharing that.
How is AI part of that picture in your digital marketing?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. So really the thing now is the idea of, so we had SEO, which was search engine optimization. And now right underneath that is this AEO and GEO, right? And GEO is how do we know? Because now there's over 250,000 websites that go live every day online. That's 173 a minute. So how does Google know that if someone's in China and they have a website that says that they're in Hawaii and they're using stock images and they're in Hawaii, right? How do they really know that they are in Hawaii? That's part of this going back to the basics of this near me and geosynchronicity. That part then with what's called an online schema is critical now to make sure that the AI can find your content, give it the authority it needs, and deliver it across these different search algorithms. So the AI is really, really, really important. And, while we can't advertise yet in most of them, it's coming soon. It's coming fast. And we're kind of debating, the whole industry is looking at, well, what are we going to do? Is it going to be kind of go, some people are leaning toward this concept of, okay, you'll have a free version of AI and a paid version, just like Spotify or Pandora, right? Like Perplexity is kind of doing that already. Or will it be more like a sponsor payment? So if Google recommends you in Gemini, and then that click leads to a purchase, there will be some kind of commission payment, right? That's another way it could go. And I guess really the answer here is that all these things will occur. It's just in what sequence. Will there be sponsorships? Because another part people are really having a hard time with is this favoritism. And right, and Google has been subject of this lawsuit. We know they're at fault. We know they're in control of search. We know that they are a monopoly. Right? All these things have happened. And what's going to what is the outcome of that? Well, they probably eventually will have to sell off YouTube. But we haven't really heard much, and there's new president in office, and they don't seem to care that much about what's going on.
No, they don't. Not our part. Yeah.
Yeah,
I have other things to worry about.
And that has actually, I think, directly influenced this surge in fraud, because even, it was 30%, now it's 60%. And those are coming from Google. They're coming from Facebook. They're coming from partners the trade desk that we thought that they were legitimate. And we're finding now that even CTV, and the digital out of home has fraud inside of it. And I was like, well, how? You think that would at least be sacred. But they're able to create these boxes and they're able to spoof the box and make it look like that they were delivered on. Right. So, having services like Human, which are expensive, but, using trusted partners has never been more important. And really, I think the education of the industry and the client to, not to take the bull by the horns and really use your spidey senses. And if the numbers don't add up, that you make a stop, you push pause and you're evaluating, because what everyone is told is they need to spend more. But it's when it's on fraud, unless the bots have credit cards, we don't want them. We don't care, unless they're on a spending spree.
It's not crazy. So I've been working with a client who they want to talk about SEO, SEM, and they want to say, hey, I want to try to be, it's a credit union. I want to be at the top of the search page, and I want to maybe be top of the sponsors page. Then what does it cost? So I just kind of did an exercise and just kind of just ask, a couple of different guys, hey, what does it cost per month? And I guess it's crazy what people are asking for, and the range. I got from $580 for one vendor to another vendor saying I have to spend at least 10 grand per month.
I was just gonna say 10 grand.
Yeah, it's just like, so how do you navigate?
I think it really, and there's a big opportunity right now because when I can maybe show you guys on the keynote. I can even show you guys how to do that, the keynote, if you want, and then do the breakout with my Covert code cast, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is that it's so new right now. We're in the early adoption phase, and since there isn't a way to really monetize it, it's very easy to now do the math to get the click to figure out what needs to happen on the page.
Right.
And then using AI to write for AI. So alt tags, for instance, are a huge opportunity. Alt tag is any image that Google can't see, search engines can't see, right? So they have little bots that they deploy to crawl over the website content and to count keywords. But, we used to think, even I, a year ago, if I had a picture, I would say a house in Oahu with a view of Diamond Head, right? That was an alt description. We were perfectly happy with that description a year ago. Maybe it could have been a little bit better, more robust, but we didn't really worry. People knew what it was that was in that picture. Now, if you take that same picture and you upload it to ChatGPT and you say, write me a detailed alt description for on a covert with this company in this location, the result you'll receive is outstanding, right? So we let the AI write for the AI, right? Search is based off of algorithm and intelligence. And so we want to use as many tools as we can, really define what is our strategy. We can't be everything to everyone.
Right.
And we need to realize that just like technology, I think a lot of clients need a reality check. They think, oh, I built a new website. I'm fine. I'm done. Right. No, now every 3 years, you need to have a budget to be updating your website. Is it the full compliance? Does it have any new, are there missing plugins? It needs an audit. It needs a speed assessment. It needs all these different health checks. And is it saying who you really are today?
And you need to budget for it.
Yeah,
It's crazy. And what you're asking, you need to budget for it. It's so crazy what the designers are asking for. And it's not the traditional designer now. You need a designer that can help you do all these different things to get your thing done. So it's crazy how that all adds up.
It does. And the thing is, it's more like being prepared for it. Like, it's like, okay, I'm working actually right now with Central Union. I built Central Union Church's website and preschool in 2018-19. Right. So right now we're just talking because they get so much website traffic that I was going to move them to a new server. And I was like, guys, this is amazing. Like, good for you. But we need to talk about, it's been a long time since we've looked at your site and now it doesn't meet best practices. And a lot of people are shocked by that, but just, I think it's part of our responsibility as the agencies to set the right stage that,
Of course.
that now, hey, we're going to build you a new website. This is what it's going to cost, but this is not going to be forever. This is going to be for the next 2-3 years. And then you're going to need to make changes to it that beyond just regular copy changes or blogs or whatever.
Yeah. I call it like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and kind of like incorporate that way so they can kind of, be mentally prepared for it. And so they can kind of like know that, hey, this is only like temporary, but down the road, because it's always going to be evolving and changing. And kind of like
So with technology, I mean, like,
yeah,
I think a lot of people are
absolutely.
really afraid. I mean, I've been now, Paul, like working on these technology audits for, high-end companies, and it is amazing. Like even for small companies, like small that you wouldn't expect, maybe 20 employees, we're saving $2,000 to $3,000 a month during immediately during a technology audit. Like, what are people using? What are they not using? Are there redundancies? Are they paying for users that are no longer using those features? Like,
And
can
that's
we
big money. That's
yeah,
huge
it's
money.
easy money.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't, there's been no one I've worked with of any size that I have not been able to at least save $500 a month from
Awesome.
looking at what servers are on, and then it's got up to like, I want to say $150,000 a month, with some large,
Amazing. Amazing.
and then more, so it's an exciting world we're living in. How are you using AI currently?
So I'm using AI to maybe like help me with like some plans, give me some copy. Like I have some results, and how can it make me better word my wording. Um, it really helped me. Like if some people have a job interview or referral, they want a job reference. It really helps me with those job reference and answering questions. I just plug in their resume, and this helps me just whip out, some great job reference answers.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's been really I think it's been a great tool. It's been helping me. I've been doing it for personal and business, which are different things. And so even like for agendas, or just even like donation letters, or just like just anything. It's been just such a great thing to embrace.
I love it. Yeah, I think that's a great word, embrace. Because even, being a writer, I was very turned off to it, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to like I write my own content. I just wrote my second book. I'm like, I don't want to like, you know, write things in there." But then now I had a whole after my first book launched in last year, in this kind of year, I just guess it's been this year, I've been getting kind of really excited about the opportunity
Yeah.
and writing for clickbait, and it's really like I feel like I've always wanted a clone, and now I feel like, I have one.
Yeah, good. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great with clickbait, like the native content. If you give it specific instructions and this is the picture, this is what I want to use, like what is the most compelling thing? And then really, really questioning it. Like I'll tell it, like, well, I don't know if that's strong enough. And there's, oh, you're right. And like, well, what about I want to be more sassy? And now I feel like we're like a team.
And I think that that's one thing I found out, that you have to kind of read it and make sure that it's in the right on track, and you just definitely question it, because sometimes it misses points, or you think that it had points that, hey, what happened to that? Well, what about that? And so, oh yeah, you're right. And so somehow just casually, but for the most part, it just really helps save time. This gives you some kind of, I think, to me, it just helps me kind of get my mindset to at least give me more ideas to kind of make it better, improve on it, and kind of gives you like a place to start versus starting from
Absolutely.
scratch.
Or even like consolidating data, like let's say someone gives you a brochure and they're like, oh, this is the brochure that I had before and I want to recreate it. Well, instead of having to like type it all out, you just pop it into AI and say, pull copy, and it'll pull the copy. Or, like Excel, like I was doing a port request today for a client and they had all these phone numbers, and I just copy pasted them out of Go High Level, like pages of them, and just dropped them into AI, like in this like format. And I'm like, this is my port request form, fill it out for me. And it filled out like 30 lines, 40 lines of the phone numbers. And I was like,
Amazing,
oh, it was amazing. Yeah, I would have had to do
amazing.
that manually before.
Yeah, totally.
With my
Yeah,
computer, but it's just,
yeah. I still haven't done too much of doing that type of thing. But yeah, I need to kind of graduate to those other type of tasks.
yeah. So I guess one more question here for media buying. Now we're talking. So what do you think makes media buying in Hawaii unique compared to other markets?
I think that we have different people, different cultures, this different lifestyle. Um, so I think that people have to kind of have, people. A lot of times people come in, you can't target, you know, the people in the state of Hawaii the same as you do California, or someone in mainland, or someone from, from Asia. I think that there's you have to kind of look at. I think number one, look at your target audience. Who you're trying to target, and then try to deeper dive into seeing how you can try to hit that audience better. Whether it be through television, radio. I think, to me, digital is always going to be part of your buy. Figuring out somehow, social media is so reasonable. How can you not put that as part of your media buy when you're doing something? And I think that but yeah, I think that it's
Yeah,
you know you-
those micro, brought up an interesting point. Like I'm reading a new book that I interviewed someone from Forbes. It's called, her name's Joycelyn Davis. It's a multicultural mindset. And she was a Filipina from Canada, but she kind of struggled with her identity because she was born in Canada, but she was Filipina, but she didn't speak Filipino because her parents didn't want her to have an accent, right? And just kind of that identity. I think that it was really interesting reading about it because that's, I think, here in Hawaii, like being this melting pot. Like when I first moved here 20 years ago, being a minority by being white was interesting, right? And there's this all these different cultures, and what is it, like, are there niches, like, like the way, not really.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. For example, we're trying to do some senior housing, living housing condominium buys for a client Kupua Hale and Hale Waiolu. And so and they want to target a local audience, older audiences. So we ended up buying KNDI, which is very targeted. They had Samoan programming,
Wow.
Filipino programming. So they have a bunch of like they have like maybe 5, 6 different ethnic um languages
Cool.
that they do on this one station. And what they do is they sell time or they provide time to these different um ethnicities and then getting that platform. So it's really cool that what they do is we give them our copy in English, and what they do is they translate it into their native language. And so and we're able to target these different audiences that traditionally, because they won't necessarily watch, listen to like the KSSKs or the 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 bombs. They're actually
So this was radio. It's radio.
right, exactly. And so it's their and this is their native language. So that's how we kind of target them in that way for this one client. And then you can and I think it's no different than how you might do them in the mainland, the Latino community or the Asians. But this is really really right,
Targeted.
right, right.
And I mean, you have really good. How was the result of your campaign? Was it like probably
Well,
late?
we didn't probably do it consistently enough. I think like to your point, I think we have to have it out there at least 3 months minimum.
Yeah.
6 months. Try to do it 1 month in there, 1 month out. Yeah, and it's a little pricey, but they gave us great support. I think that you know I believe they got some leads from that. I think that we kind of did more longer term to kind of gain more credibility and kind of because you try to just jump in there one time and jump out.
Yeah, it's not enough. People forget. I mean, they feel,
Yeah,
I mean, and then to your point, think about how much bombardment we are faced with on the daily with
totally.
shows. And I mean, I read a statistic that we, like, us type of people, that we are experiencing more media in one day than people in Africa will in their entire lives.
I, I'm sure of that
Yep.
or many other countries where it's happening. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And it's coming from all different ways, right? I mean, you're trying to do, the outdoor media, the digital media, even when you're like at Pro Ridge, they have the digital signage or the graphics on the floors. I mean, this goes from everything, from different things going on. And so that's why I mentioned earlier about just trying to be on different levels because
Yeah.
what one's not just going to be, you're just consuming media all the time in different ways. And you're not sure where your attention span is going to be at the time.
You know what I like to exercise I like to do for our listeners. So I like to talk about like a story. So let's say that this guy's Kanai, and he wakes up every morning, and the first thing he does is he lays in bed for 10 minutes and he scrolls through his phone. He looks at Facebook. He like checks the sports and the weather. Then he gets up. He eats yogurt. He turns on the TV, has the news, and he's opening his mail. Then he gets in the car, he takes the kids, they pop on Spotify and they drive to school, drops them off, goes downtown, parks his car in the garage, goes to Starbucks to get a coffee before walking to his downtown office. How many times did we have the opportunity to reach him on his journey just in the morning? Well, in bed, he could have been on social. We could have seen him, we could have reached him through, programmatic marketing. Then we could have gotten him when he was doing the mail, because he could have been on television, traditional, watching the news, in Spotify or like digital out of home. So those are the kind of really thinking about that customer and what are the opportunities you have to reach them and how many times do you need to?
Yeah, and I think it depends on every customer journey. The buying process is different, and I think the product depends on the product as well too. Right, if it's a high end product, like like a little more pricier product versus something that's just more like a Damu juice. Yeah,
Good service, kids
yeah,
on.
exactly. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, how can people get involved in this event that's coming up very, very soon?
Yeah, well, they can go onto our website. It's AAF Region.org, and they can sign up there for the conference. We have more information. They can sign up. They can even just attend, just a keynote speaker, just to hear you speak if they want. So there's many ways you can just attend the event. They can attend the whole conference. If they can't attend, we can take in-kind donations for our conference. They want to make some donations. If they have some kind of you know chachis that you want to give to all the conference participants.
Nice.
Yeah, so we have all that type of things available for us.
Great. Well, that is wonderful. And we'll pop that into the link as well for when we distribute this next week. And can't wait to be at the conference. Thanks for inviting me and for being
We can't wait to see you, Anna.
Yes. Great. Well, thank you so much. And you can find Paul on LinkedIn, as well as your domain for your private media buying is
Mediabypaul.com.
mediabypaul.com. I love that. And please join me next week as I interview another industry expert and a topic to help you succeed on and offline. Big mahalo to all of my listeners. We just reached almost 35,000 subscribers on YouTube as of today. Couldn't do it without your support. So please like me on your favorite channel. And I will see you next week in the Pixels. Aloha. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Covert Code podcast. If you're loving the insights we share here, don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more digital innovators like you. Share this episode with your friends and colleagues on social media and help spread the word. And if you're in the solar space or just curious about where clean energy is headed, I'm thrilled to announce my brand new podcast, The Solar Coaster. This show digs into the real stories, trends, and challenges of the solar industry, with bold conversations and powerful takeaways you won't hear anywhere else. Follow the Solar Coaster now so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the Pixels. Aloha.